Key Largo has a lot of great wreck dives. Many of them are deeper. One of the shallow dives that catches people's interest is the wreck of the Benwood. Benwood was a Norwegian ship that in World War II was actually running along the Florida Keys coast without its lights. The reason it did that was to avoid being detected by German subs that might have been offshore.
Surprisingly, there's a lot of German U-boat activity in Florida. They're really causing big problems in the shipping channels. We had two vessels, the Benwood and the Tuttle, both running with their lights out, and they had a collision.
Radar was in its infancy, so these two ships collided in the dark.
Unfortunately, the Benwood sustained quite a lot of damage.
And the captain knew he was in big trouble, rather than sinking out in the Gulf Stream with all goods beyond salvage and putting his people in peril, he thought to run the vessel into shore and to ground it. He didn't quite make it. He got into about 40 feet of water, and that's where the Benwood sank.
For many years, the wreck sat where it grounded. Parts of the wreck stuck out of the water.
After so many years of that, it was deemed a hazard to navigation, and the Corps of Engineers blew it up.
It was used as target practice for Air Force and Navy bombers. It was dynamited and line drugged, so you don't have structure sticking up anymore. But the deep end of the wreck is still fairly intact. You have a big bow section that's sticking up there on that 40-foot section. As you work shallower into that 25-foot depth, the wreck is a bit more broken up.
When you dive the Benwood, you don't see, it's obviously a ship, but you don't see a lot of superstructure except for the bow. The stern area is pretty flat, like any shipwreck, particularly in an area that is devoid of coral reef, like where this one is. It holds a lot of marine life.
But it's a great site. Many people like to night dive on that wreck. A lot of fish life because there's not much else around it. Even though it's on a hard bottom, it's not in the middle of a lush coral reef area. So marine life is attracted like a magnet to that structure.
The Viz is quite variable because it's more of an inner reef. Molasses and the Elbow are more on the outside, and they gain the benefit of the passing Gulf Stream. It can be very, very clear there, and it can be reasonably clear on the Benwood. Sometimes it's 20-foot Viz, more likely 40 foot's an expectation, but you can have 80-foot visibility as well. If you can hit an 80-foot Viz day on the Benwood, it's really one of the best dives in the Keys, just because the marine life is so rich.